projected expectations regarding the future after the amputation is one issue or situation of rehabilitation, as it were, which is to make me be more mobile, or should I say, to be mobile in a more normal way than I've been after the amputation. Now that calls in more resources than we may afford to gather even as a family or on my own as an individual. Because after the amputation, now over a year back, the challenge that comes is income. We have had to get rid of property such as cars and some other assets in order just to go by. And this I'm saying without belittling or undermining the fact that I've been able to receive assistance from family and friends, as well as the clergy community, especially one particular man of God and his wife or his family. They've actually gone beyond what we would look at as the normal way of helping. They've gone out of their way. In cases where you find when you receive help, you can actually tell that this can surely touch on their own budget or their own plans with the resources they are giving us.
So how he was before, my dad has always been the active one. He would be up in the morning and make lemon water for us as the family, go out to the garden, check how it is, come in, check if everyone is fine. If people are still sleeping, he'll be the one to open the curtains, and usually he'd be the one we had an exercise plan that he had put together. There's a time that I was gaining so much weight. So he mapped out a whole jogging route on where we would go. So he would plan it with us, my mom and I, the three of us. We would go out jogging every morning and do exercises. So we would walk like close to 10 kilometers, jog. From 6 to 7, we come back, we do our exercises, we drink our lemon water, and then we go about our day. He would do his quotations, he would go meet clients. Sometimes I'd go with him to measure, because he's into construction, to measure like buildings. Well, generally, you wouldn't think I would do that because you may think it's a barrier for women, but I'm closer to him in terms of wanting to know what exactly he does and just beyond. Just to get to know how things function. So I would be with him most of the times doing most of what he's doing and learning from him. So before he was active, he was very active in every way possible, whether it's domestic, generic, just general stuff, sports, activities. He was in a good space, in a healthy space, exercise fit, healthy diet, family, just in touch with his life. He had a balanced life all together from how I would see it. And his personality has always been amazing. So now, what I think would have changed is that fact of not being mobile and not being able to do the things that he would do effortlessly. For instance, probably making tea for everybody. And he would, from his goodness of his heart, he would want to do that. But so I think that changed, just the physical aspect of him changed. But what I'm also worried about was his feelings, how he would feel sometimes, because I know a lot of people are not cautious of how to relate in terms of communication to someone who's wheelchair bound, for instance. I had the opportunity to have a best friend of mine who passed away, who was on a wheelchair. So I had the experience to how to relate. Well, I related with him normally because we're friends and we clicked, but the time I spent with him, I saw what affected him from outsiders, how people spoke to him or how people saw him. So the change I would think that came after the amputation would be inner change, his feelings, his emotions, the trauma, his mindset is something that I think had a 360 change on him more than anything. Because how he relates to people, or how other people relate to him, because sometimes some other friends wouldn't come and see him because they're scared to see someone on a wheelchair who's been amputated. They don't know how to relate with it. Some also just then start stigmatized. There's a stigma towards it. So it's different in those areas, because, for instance, we didn't get therapy on how to go about it. So everyone obviously then had their own way of dealing with it. But for me personally, it was easier. I would chill with him. It's still the same, connecting, speaking with him. But he has gone to heal more, I've seen from within over the past time, because he's been getting used to it. So he's better at mobilizing, and he's now more comfortable in how to maneuver. Though he is obviously looking forward to the prosthetic, which will just then put him back on his feet. But I think it's an experience that helped him to see how the other world looks at disability. So it was a traumatic experience and also an eye-opener. So it's kind of like what they say, a blessing in disguise.
You need to consult with that doctor or with the nurse as far as what the diagnosis they have seen is about you. They must take at least a few samples of you, your blood if necessary, your blood pressure, first your sugar levels and so forth, and then maybe calm you down by giving you some medication, after which they may have to brief you now on what course they are deciding to make after they have observed how you are reacting to whatever interventions they've given you. My point is that you need to avoid a situation where somebody just rushes to want to make you lose a limb. It can be a hand or a leg. In my case, it's the leg.
From my own observation, I've always admired the network, the way his family has stood within themselves, the way they've supported him, and the way the family system has always been there for him. And I think sometimes we forget to count our blessings. And I've always said to him, you may have lost that leg, but you are still within yourself as a family, which is very important. Some people may have both legs like me, but maybe not have all members of my family as I would have wished, which is something that I really admire for these guys. The support system and psychological, that works more to heal somebody than when people are scattered and having different problems in different places. I think the intactness, the fact that his family has always stayed with him, is admirable. It still means that he has maintained that holding of his family together, which sometimes is a bigger achievement than being rich, you know. And I feel I pay my gratitude to both of them, all of them, and both of them as a mother and father. It's a very important part of life. That's my big observation.